Where would you like to see Sustainable City Yiti in the next 10 years?
So the first 3 years that we deliver the whole city. The whole city is delivered in 3 years from today. And inshallah, if we have this interview again or this discussion in 3 years, it will be there and we will be talking about that's what we planned and it's there and we have achieved it. All the components been achieved. That's the first 3 years.
Tejarah Talks.
Welcome to Tejarah Talks, Oman's premier business podcast. From green manufacturing to Gen Z and the creative industries, we explore the exciting trends and game-changing ideas that are shaping our business community. No matter whether you're a C-suite veteran, a startup pioneer, or a curious business enthusiast, we've got you covered. Today, we're joined by Dr. Hashil Al Mahrouqi, CEO of OMRAN Group and Chairman of Sustainable City Yiti. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you.
Dr. Hashil, please tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do at OMRAN.
The way I want to start always introducing myself is associated a bit of the work I'm doing and the reality bringing it what I tell my team that I have a real life and I have this life, and usually I also have a previous life. So that's the way I kind of introduce it. When we start thinking about the tourism development and we think about who is responsible about tourism development in the whole country of Oman, and if I want to associate myself with that and saying that I am the group CEO for that, that's a big scope. But in reality as well, I want to talk about what we are bringing to the tourism development, what differ us when we think about now the tourism development, when we think about the value chain that we're responsible about in the tourism development. All of this make it a lengthy introduction if I will really want to associate myself with that. What I'm trying to say here, if it's only about the scope that we are talking about without having the other elements of it, then that will make it always a missing and important elements. So you ask me what I'm doing here. We are focusing about the tourism development, but really we are fulfilling the vision of 2040. In the sense is we put the community and we put the people and the human being as the important cornerstone for whatever we are doing in the tourism development. That's when me being also a father and a husband and a son and a brother and a friend, I also understand what we need in the community to address all of that surrounding and the 360 we're talking about. So even when we think about the urban design, we think about the tourism development, I put myself with all what I have identified now to you and the 360 that we're trying to fulfill. And we're trying to really achieve this smoother and faster than what we normally planned and the long term.
Over the past 10 years, Nodal has worked on some of Oman's most important digital transformation projects, including the InvestEasy portal and the Omani Census 2020. We've also been committed to developing local entrepreneurial talent through our Oman Talent Hub. With digital transformation playing a key role in Oman's Vision 2040, we're excited to see what's next for the country and how we can continue to be part of its journey.
Dr. Hashil, you're working on an exciting new project, Sustainable City Yiti. Tell us a little bit about how it started and the partnerships you've developed. I understand it's a joint venture going to be between Diamond Developers and OMRAN. How did that come about, and how are the two organizations working together to undertake this ambitious project of building a green and sustainable city in Oman?
The story of the sustainable city started long time ago, before even OMRAN came into the picture. And fortunate or unfortunate, I've been carrying sustainable city with me, moving to different jobs, to be honest. So before even being in OMRAN, I was the chairman of this project since 2018. And Diamond been always there, but their role started growing because we both start sharing the same vision. and the commitment toward that vision, what's brought this partnership from being one element of the project, some of the other side of the project, to be a 50% partnership, 50% partnership in this project. So when we start thinking about Yiti, a beautiful site, what else we need to do? What will distinguish this place? What we really want to do to be building the future city, the city of 2040. And now that's in writing, we have it, we have confirmed that this is how the cities of 2040 is going to look like. When we set the vision right, and as I said, the commitment from the both parties was determined, then we start the planning toward that. And I always say we put the design principle first, so that's make it very easy when we want to, or easier at least, when we want to decide, is this part of the city? Is this part of the design? We go back to the principles that we have set for ourselves. And if it is meeting all of these or most of these principles, then we say, yes, we vote for it. When you do any project, people will be thinking about few things. For example, the IRR, is that make sense, return on investment. But for us, that's not the only kind of principle that we're looking for. What we want to achieve is the reality, the commitment toward the sustainability. And when we talk about sustainability, we went away from talking about, only the solar, only the LEED certification. And I'm not trying to criticize any of these systems, but I'm saying we want to be more comprehensive about it.
And sorry, it's not just the IRR, but the IRR obviously is one of the major components.
Of course. And that is the definition of what OMRAN stands for. If you look to the name of OMRAN, it's Oman Tourism Development Company. And the last word company is meaning that we will do it entrepreneurial way of doing it. We are not saying that the commercial is not an important element for it, but we are saying it's not the only drive for it. What we are talking about the environmental sustainability, economic sustainability, but most importantly is the research and education that we want to bring here. Waste sustainability and the rest of what we are doing as a story here. But we do it differently. That's what we're trying to do. So we put all these components together and we make it a well-integrated city. I mean, what distinguish it? What's differ the sustainable city, Yiti, from any other green sustainable city? What differ it that we are, as I said, it's well integrated. And there's a design principles that we adhere, that we stand for. So many different opportunities came to us. Investors, partners, and it was so simple for us. We go back to the blueprint, we go back to the principles. If it's really helping us to achieve them, absolutely we vote for. But if it's kind of diluting the vision that we all committed for, that's where we question it.
Why build the project in Yiti? What was the sort of site selection process? Can you walk us through it?
Okay. So the selection of Yiti, there was a project was meant to be done in Yiti long time ago, as I said. But later on, we start thinking about we want to do something different. We in Oman being always the leader and the thought disturber in so many different aspects. And I think this time for putting the first well-integrated city, we've been leading in that. Having a city that produces 110% of the energy we need. Having a city of a zero waste. And I mean zero waste. Nothing's going to leave that site as a waste from there. Having a city that have all the components. We are selling a lifestyle rather than we're talking about block and steel or the way. It's everything. It's all the elements we bought. So the selection of the site, it was the topography of the place, the beauty of the place. And then also we was thinking about, Muscat and how the urban went between west and balancing it to the east is another thing. And then having the proper size of the site. When we start doing the master plan, this was 11 million square meter, and I think then we can plan it. Then we can do a proper city that we are talking about.
Excellent. So the master plan was 11 million.
Yes.
And at the moment, are we looking at phases, constructing
of course.
It in phases? Can you tell us a little bit more?
The sustainable city is 1/10 of the whole site, which is 1 million. That's where we started, which is the marina. And the beauty of Yiti that you have everything. So you have the water, then you have the mountain, and then you have the rest of what you really want to integrate with that triangle when you want to put an urban design. Then later on, we have another project, which we also kind of expedited because of the success that we already, or the track record that we already have with the sustainable city. Now we have another project which is called AIDA, which is another 3.5 million. And that is being expedited. That was supposed to be phase 2, which will happen after we finish phase 1. Guess what? Just because of the track record of only the design and starting the construction, we already have a partner where we end up only in the last 2 years, I will say, the numbers and the amount we brought here for as a foreign direct investment to the country is really billions. And it's just because of what I said, the proper design, having a principle that we stand for, and then trying to capitalize on the competitive advantage we have in the country. When we plan tourism development in Oman, I think we need to diversify and to capitalize on the landscape we already have in Oman. So, first of all, we think about the adventure tourism. And if we want to do it, we do it in the right way of doing the adventure. And we also respect the environment. We want to do the adventure. We want to visit every mountain. We want to hike, bike, trike, and we want to go all the wadis. But then unless we do it in a sustainable way, that we do it and we preserve it for the next generation and the next generation, then we don't want to activate. We've been really protective in this one. Now we capitalize on this one. So that's one. Talking about agritourism, yes, we have it here, but we want to do it in a sustainable way that we will sustain the project for us, and as I said, for the next generations coming. We also have the heritage, and that's something we're rich in that. But we want to capitalize, and again, to respect that what we already have here, we respect it, but we capitalize on it, making it part of the tourism, and so forth. When we do any city, we need now to understand that the human being is the focal point about it. So we design buildings, we design everything, but the wellness of us, all of us, the wellness, the well-being of all of us is a cornerstone on doing this one. In Al Irfan, we are doing a city, and we decided that we want to have this city between live, work, and play, because we want people to enjoy themselves being in these cities. And this is also diversifying tourism development. It's not only, what is it? Is it a hotel and that's a tourism? No. A hotel is needed, but it's not the cause for people to come to here. It's an effect. We need a reason for people to come here, and we want it a sustainable way for them to come here again and again and again. And then they will need to stay in a hotel. So this diversification that we are introducing in the tourism will help us to really achieve also the goal of the number of people to visit Oman. The target in 2040 is 11 million tourists to come to Oman, and I think we are 1/3 of that by end of this year. So we're not far from that number, only if we do these plans together.
In terms of creating the sustainable city, there's obviously collaboration with many stakeholders, government, private sector, local communities, and surely environmental organizations as well. So could you please tell us more about what's the approach to sustainability? How do you leverage on those partnerships to ensure that your vision materializes, the vision of creating this sustainable city, Yiti?
See, before we reach to the city, there's a journey that OMRAN took related to sustainability. So OMRAN built the first 5-star hotel in Jabal Al-Akhdar, Alila.
Yes. Which is a wonderful hotel, by the way.
Thank you.
Yes.
I always vote for that.
Yes.
In Jabal Al-Akhdar and in Alila project, and for the first time, OMRAN decided to go and get a silver LEED certification. And they got it silver at that time, which is a good start for the first time in Jabal Al-Akhdar in a hotel. We achieved that, and then after that, developing the convention center, and that was gold. And then we've been the developer of Oman Tel building, also in Al Irfan, and that was platinum. And if you've noticed that we've been raising the bar, and I don't think anything will be less than having a sustainable city will make sense after this. To brought it and making it part of the DNA of anything we do, a whole city was next for us. That's why when we start really planning this one, we capped on a success that we already started, that we already built, and we already communicated. And we also plan to walk the talk, being talking about sustainability, talking about putting all of these together. So the first thing was about getting all of the needed approvals, and all of that records and all of that know-how and the partnership we have with diamond developers that they already did similar cities. All of this together was the ingredients to make a successful, sustainable city. Then, of course, going to the right government parties that we need their approvals, all the shareholders we need, all the stakeholders that we need to get them involved in this project. Community play a big role here, because sustainability is about integrating this project with the community. Small example about this one, when we start going for the master planning, some of the consultants was saying the best is to build next to the water, because that's the highest value, with the view and access to the water. We all have agreed, no, that is a public place. We are taking it to be developed, and then we're bringing it back to the community. And that's sustainability. That is exactly the simple definition of a sustainability for us. We close the site for the construction, but then the site will be open for everyone to come and enjoy what we have planned there, and making it accessible to everyone. That is sustainability. All of this cannot be done without the research and the research and education part of it. So we also, an important stakeholder for us is the institutions that were going to help us to achieve all of these goals. We cannot plan to be building the city of 2040, doing it with what we currently have. That's why the research, working with all who can help us to achieve it faster and better, and really thinking about the future, that they are an important stakeholder for us.
Excellent. Thank you very much for that. I would like now to move to talk a little bit about the design, impact, and marketing of Sustainable City Yiti. As you mentioned, the first phase will cover around 1 million square meters of land, which is quite sizable. And as we understand it, there will be around 1,500 units. Could you give us an idea about the time frame? What are you marketing in terms of the time frame for the creation, or for the completion rather, of this first phase?
Okay. So the number of units, we will have 300 villas, and we will have 1,225 apartments, and we will have 132 branded units as well. That's to bring it a bit more than 1,500 you've said. Mm-hmm. I'll be precise because I'm keep monitoring the sales and the marketing of the project. What are we bringing when we start the design around this one and all of these residential? It was, as I said, and you've said 1 million is about the size of it. It's a city. We are planning to have 10,000 people. The population will be around 10,000 in the city. And what's make it city is not only the residential we are putting there. It's not the concrete and steel. It's about the integrated design. It's about having all the amenities around that. It's about all the components needed there. And it's about really selling the story of a sustainable way of living. So the components we have there went way more than the residential units there. We start thinking about the well-being, which is an important pillar of 2040. Yes, it's there. So we care about wellness, we care about the sport. We have autism center, we have equestrian there, we have a clinic. And when we start thinking about having the school and the nursery, again, the consultant was telling us, put it next to the gate because it's easier for people not living there, when they are getting their kids in and out. But because we have our principles, we went back to the principle. And I remember the discussion was like, no, we want it to be a neighborhood school. Why is that? Because then we're going to walk the talk around, our kids will be walking and cycling to these schools, rather than, which is car free. So no worries about them going and crossing the road. And that's exactly bringing it to the system.
What is car free exactly?
So there is no cars that will be crossing the roads where they are moving, going back to and forth to the school from where they are staying. The whole city was planned around that pedestrian first and then the cars. So we have 7.4 kilometers for walking, running and cycling tracks where you don't cross the road, and the cars will be taking it over bridge, down to the basement, and you don't need to cross them.
And how do you see, you did talk about this in terms of, you said the well-being is something, well-being of the inhabitants of the city is obviously a priority that went into the design of the city. But how do you feel that sort of SCY, I can call it SCY, right? Yeah. Sustainable City Yiti. how will it impact the quality of life for its residents and the surrounding environment as well?
As I said, we are here really talking about an experience. It's not we are selling a unit or a residential unit, it's the experience. So awareness is an important part for us about sustainability, and it's a lifestyle rather than something ticking the box, if I may say that. Yeah. It's a lifestyle. So awareness, one part of it. In the education part of the city, our sustainability is an important element in the curriculum. So we introduce it at school, at the nursery, and we also have a C-Lab, which is really telling us how can we enhance the lifestyle, how can we really ensuring the well-being of whoever is part of this development, being a resident or a visitor or even a shareholder or a stakeholders with us.
Sorry, can you, what lab? A C-Lab?
C-Lab.
Could you talk to us about this?
So the C-Lab is an important element of the project that we have here. And why we call it a C-Lab? Because now we're focusing not on the building itself and the concrete and the steel, rather than what's the outcome of this lab. So people that they want to know about how we do the utilities and the solar and the wind and how we do all the researches, they can really be here. We will be really bringing all the international experiences around sustainability to come and to be discussed and presented in that lab. We're also going to be encouraging whoever is having a beautiful, nice ideas about sustainability and ensuring how we enhance the lifestyle in a sustainable manner to come there and use this lab to show us some of the products, some of the ideas that they have. And then guess what? We will implement it in the city as long as it's meeting all the requirements of the sustainability.
What challenges have you encountered during the planning of the SCY?
There's no project without challenges, but the beauty of this one, because of the successful track records of the both partners, Diamond Developers, they already did something around sustainability and cities. And because Omran is the tourism developer in the whole Oman, any challenge that we used to have and it's difficult, we turn it to an opportunity by working together and knowing, capping on the success that we already have. Of course, the site, as beautiful as it is, but there are some challenges related to the sites. Understanding how we make this sustainable project as well, not in the sense of the sustainability we were saying, but also when we build it, understanding what might happen in the future related to the environment. You know, we're close to the water, then the mountain, also few wadis is there. So we did, and I remember the model we start running about what might be the worst, environmental case that happened, 1 in 200 and 1 in 500. All of these models making us sometimes being more in terms of the development, but we understand that making it a sustainable project and address all of the challenges we have there. People might think that bringing this and respecting the contour and the environment and the topography of the site might be a challenge, but for us it was really giving us an opportunity that we have different offering, we have different elements of the project.
Excellent. We'll move now to discuss a little bit about technology, resource management, and the circular economy. Cities are leveraging advanced technologies like the Internet of Things, AI, and data to optimize resource management. So what is, and you've mentioned briefly in one of your responses to the questions, that Sustainable City Yiti will actually be producing 110% of its energy requirements. And I'm assuming this will be done through renewable resources.
Yes.
So if you could talk to us a little bit about the technology involved in that and how that might be optimized, or how it will be optimized rather, using AI and data analytics.
So we start from the design itself, passive, active design, all the way to the selection of material, and we spare no efforts exploring partnership with big companies that will help us to make it a real smart city. And sometimes I use this example as it sounds not an important element of the development, that when we went all the way from here to Europe searching for a partner that will provide things that will really help us to achieve the CO2 emission that we're after, and that's to include every element of the house. even if it's being, and I'm serious about this, that we went and we are looking for a partner to help this, that what's the future toilets going to look like? What's the elements that will help us to save water? And we went there, and I don't know if you know this, but we normally use 9 liters per minute when we have a shower. We went and we asked to customize something specifically for the site, specifically for this project, specifically for the sustainable city Yiti, to be 6 liters per minute. And that's 3 liters per minute, multiply it in 10 minutes that someone will take as on an average as a shower, multiply it for 10,000, which is the population of the city, and multiply it in 1 year. So we spare no efforts. That's what I'm trying to say. Being in the design, being in the selection of the materials, being in the selection of the partners that really add value to us here. The beauty of the site here, that some of these are still in the research and development phase of it. And some of the discussion we have with our partners, that we've met X, Y, Z, and they're thinking that they can improve doing this in a different way. And it is ongoing discussion, and it's ongoing learning and development to bring it to really the zero emission that we'll talk about in 2050. We will do it, inshallah, before the end of 2025 in this city. That's how we aim to do the city.
Let's talk a little bit more about technology and the circular economy. As you mentioned, waste will be minimized, and I'm guessing, or I'm sure, there is a circular economy strategy in place, or will be in place, in terms of disposing of waste management. Could you talk to us a little bit about that?
Yeah. So waste in the city, sustainable city Yiti, won't be minimized, it will be zero. Nothing will be leaving the site. The discussion with our neighbors, the fishermen, when we built a harbor for them, we said, any waste from what you're doing for a living, we want it. And they've been questioning, you want the waste? Because everything they catch, we want it, yes, but the waste, what we're after as well. And they've been wondering that why someone will come after the waste. We will be having a biogas. We will be getting the waste. Now we're in discussion with a sister company, Bia, getting also the waste from there. We're talking about the market of the fruit and vegetables as well. And we want the waste because we will be producing from the biogas the energy. So when we decided to do 110%, solar won't be enough. Yes, we have a big farm for the solar part of it. We have a windmill as well. But the biogas, which is newly coming to here, and we are in discussion, as I said, with different entities, that it's not only the waste at the city, that's nothing is going to leave as a waste and zero, but we also help something else to recycle it from outside, from the community and from the rest of the country. So that's few of the examples that we are doing here.
So zero waste.
Zero waste.
Very good.
Yeah.
In terms of resource management, what measures are being taken to ensure efficient water and energy usage? We talked about waste. We talked about generally the using sort of renewable energy resources to generate power. But what are we doing to minimize, or to use water efficiently? Yeah. And you mentioned the example you gave in water consumption for showers. Yeah. But let's say, for example, irrigation, and I'm sure there's an irrigation system. So can you walk us through it?
Yeah. See, before we focus on the water, let me tell you that the element is about energy, of course, that we already spoke about. I'll come to the water, but it's also even the food and the products we have there and the waste management. All of these, it's a system, so it's all working together. That's what I'm saying, that there's a blueprint about sustainability, and it's all well integrated. Without one element of these, you won't be able to achieve all of these. So the water, normally, of course, we will do the STB, which is the treatment plant. That's not enough. We will do three different ways of filtering the water. But then we're also going to pump it at the highest level of the site, and we will let it naturally filtered again before it's coming to naturally doing the irrigation. And that's sustainability. It's not only the chemical way of doing it, but connecting it back to the nature. One of the studies we did, and it's now been successful, and I think we can talk about that, we'll be harvesting water as well, the drinking water, from the humidity that we have at the site. And each unit, we will have this device dedicated for the unit where we harvest water.
So absorb it from the air, basically.
Yes. Yes.
And this water will be enough for what?
A family of 4, this will be enough for them as drinking water.
Drinking water.
Yeah. And we will be, as I said, it's about educating them. It's about awareness, how to really make sure that this is enough.
Definitely. The impact of climate change
Yeah.
poses significant risks to cities worldwide. How has Sustainable City Yiti incorporated resilience and adaptation measures to mitigate the potential impacts of extreme weather events, such as rising sea levels and other climate-related challenges?
Yeah. First of all, as I said, the studies is ongoing, and we never stopped really seeing how can we play that critical role that you're asking about. But what really I like about Sustainable City Yiti and the influence of it, that is now everything we do, and I mean everything we do in Oman, is if it's not better than what Sustainable City is aimed for, then at least it's at par. So we've set that bar. We cannot go less than that. So now when we develop any project, name it. And as I said, with the tourism development of Oman is our responsibility from north to south. So now any project we do, we are thinking about sustainability. We did a small project recently, and it's for public, for people to go and enjoy. It's a small bar. But then the whole lighting was solar based. So sustainability become, as I said, it's a DNA. It's not something that, it's only for a city, or it's only something we do it in a specific project. But what the impact that we are getting from that city that we are rolling out across the country and across any project that we are doing or we are discussing with someone. And that's where we're getting it. That's where we really learn from what we are doing there. Remember when I told you it was a journey for us? Now we are here and nothing will be less than this one. This is one. Any study we did, we understand, of course, as I said, related to because we're close to the water. Then we also understand the changes happening around us. We associate ourselves with all the conferences happening, and we also there, and we present papers about this project, and we understand how can we achieve that goal, being some of the target being set for the country or set for the globe as well. And we're always leading there. Some of the announcement came recently, as I said, that marking the cities of the future cities, how it's going to look like, and we have ticked all the boxes needed there. So now the challenge is becoming that we sustain what we started across the country. We have a lot to offer in Oman, but the best way of doing it that we deliver all of these projects related to being tourism or being the urban or being the development of the cities is around what we already achieved.
So it would be sort of like a blueprint for future cities for Oman, using the experience of Sustainable City Yiti and emulating it perhaps in other areas, in other regions of Oman in the future.
We are really good in protecting the environment in Oman, and this is not from now, and it started from way long before now. We have some of the reserves that we have here that people will really question how did we thought of that. We have in Jebel Shams something to do with the reserve for the stars only. And now we are doing a project there as OMRAN. It's part of we diversifying tourism. But guess what? We are respecting that and doing it in a very sustainable way. We in OMRAN started now diversifying tourism. So we have something called agritourism. But we cannot do agritourism and then we are harming the environment. That makes sense for us that we do it in more sustainable way of doing it. These are beautiful projects that we're doing about agritourism. I'll say it briefly that in Salalah, which is the only part in the region that we can grow coconut and some of other fruits that we have there, we decided to bring that agri with the tourism part of it. Edutainment, building a beautiful project there about we're going to grow 50,000 coconut trees there. But then you know what? We bring the element of people enjoying being next to it. Living, enjoying, understanding the products getting from there and ensuring the sustainability, which is also we got it from Yiti Sustainable City. We promote for the people they want to do, SMEs start doing it from home. So the same story there. You're living there, some of the products you will be doing there, you have a market for. And as I said, we started somewhere in Yiti Sustainable City. From now on, I think it's only taking it to another level.
Completely agree. Final question. Where would you like to see Sustainable City Yiti in the next 10 years? What would be the for you personally as well, since you're working on this, you've been working on this for quite some time. What would you like to see in 10 years?
I'll divide that 10 years to 3 years in a time. So the first 3 years that we deliver the whole city. The whole city is delivered in 3 years from today. And inshallah, if we have this interview again or this discussion in 3 years, it will be there, and we will be talking about that's what we planned, and it's there, and we have achieved it. All the components been achieved. That's the first 3 years. Meanwhile, the other 3 years will be about that is a reference city for not only Oman, not the region, but the globe. When they want to talk about well-integrated city, this is where they will come and see. The C-Lab, where we'll be coming and discussing what else we can do away from what we currently doing. The last 3 years will be that we already achieve all the goals we have set for us about zero carbonization, and it's about the net zero, and it's about the sustainability and about the future cities. And that again will be we sending this certification. We will be going and saying, yes, we have met all of this one. The last 1 year will be when we are saying that now that one city, we have another few cities, not only in Oman, not in the region, but elsewhere, that is now really respecting the environment, respecting the community, and respecting the energy, and doing it in the right way.
That's a very clear roadmap, and I wish you all the best, inshallah, in achieving it for UMRAN and also for Oman generally.
Inshallah. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Well, that wraps up another episode of Tejarah Talks. Thanks for joining us. Please don't forget to follow us on your favorite podcast platform, and join us again the next time. Until then, stay curious.
Tejarah Talks.